sant yàlla.
looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokku dara.
Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
In the Gambia, we all move to different paces. Time is money, convenience is power, and now both are in your hands. No more long lines, no more late payments, no more missed chances. Not anymore. Because now the Gambia has its own super app, Zap. One app, one tap, endless convenience. Send money instantly, pay your bills in seconds, shop without borders, pay your rides, order your meal, buy your ticket, deposit and withdraw money for absolutely free. No extra charges, no hidden fees, only on Zap Super App. This is not just convenience. This is confidence. This is the future in your hands. And the best part, Zap is born right here. Built for us, designed for every Gambian home, every Gambian dream. So don't wait in the past. Step into the future. Download Zap today on App Store and Play Store and enjoy endless free services. Call us today on our toll-free number 1666 or on 260-0001. Zap, all in one, all for you. Tap in, zap in.
On Tuesday, the 16th of December 2025, we're with Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, as he always does on Tuesdays. Go ahead. Now,
last week, I made a statement here, and some people were being emotional about it. We want to do everything possible as a government to stop irregular migration. But it's a challenge, and most countries in the Sahel and West African sub-region are facing these challenges. I didn't give any statistics. What I said was that irregular migration has not increased under this regime, as people are made to believe. What has changed is the reporting. And some people came after me saying that I was misleading the public and that it has increased. I'm now giving the figures, the statistics, based on authoritative research.
What's your source?
I'll give you the source as well. Now, irregular migration under Jameh, pre-2017, this is a peak period, and these are the numbers. Irregular migration from the Gambia, where the central Mediterranean grew sharply in the 2010s, with a major peak in 2016. 11,929 plus Gambians arrived by sea in Italy. In 2016 alone, a 41% increase from 2017, and this is Bridges Migration EU. I was part of that consortium who did research together with the Brussels VUB University in Brussels. And this is statistics. Other estimates indicate roughly 40,000 Gambians entered Europe irregularly between 2014 and 2019, with many of those departures occurring before Jameh's exit in 2017, the same source. Now, the context for the push factors at that time, during Jameh's authoritarian rule, political repression, economic difficulties, and lack of opportunities were major drivers pushing many young Gambians to migrate. This is the European External Action Service as a source. One estimate suggests that 38,500 Gambians left through irregular routes between 2013 and 2017. So, let's look at the one under President Barrow. After Jameh's departure and Barrow's election in 2017, irregular migration initially declined somewhat from the immediate peak years, in part due to broader EU-Libya cooperation. But then again, a study done by Dr. Ibrahim Ceesay of the Birmingham School and some colleagues like Alice Belagamba and Elia Vitura, said that until 2019, the Gambia was among the top 10 countries of origin of migrants who arrived in Europe without regular visas. Roughly 40,000 entries in 2014. The renewed VAT of the oceanic route from West African Canary Island during the past 2 years, Gambian arrivals in Europe have drastically decreased. Only 199 reached Italy between January 2020 and February 2021. So the figures are there. So I wasn't speaking out of emotion, but those who came after me they were not using data. The data is very clear. Irregular migration has declined since President Barrow came to power. And just last year alone, I think last year or this year, we intercepted 2,000 potential migrants who are planning to go by the Gambia Immigration Department.
So the intention to keep going is there.
It's there. Yeah. But what we are saying is that my whole thesis was that, yes, irregular migration still exists, but the way it is portrayed, it has increased. That is not what the data is telling us. It has declined from the pre-2017 years. 2016 was the highest. About almost 40,000 Gambians left that year alone to take the back way. Yes, it is still existing. Yes, it is still a problem, but the numbers has declined, and this was my thesis, and I think it was unfair for people to be going after me to say I was misleading the public and that it has increased. What has increased, rather, is the reporting.
Well, I hope, this decrease or these statistics don't get into the heads of, government officials. Because when the election result was declared on the 2nd of December, 2016. 2016.
17. Oh, 16, yeah, sorry, yeah. Yeah, 16, sorry, apologies.
2nd of December,
yeah,
2016. We
yeah.
voted on the 1st of December, 2016.
Yeah.
The final results were declared on the 2nd of December, 2016.
Yes.
Young people like Martin here, I keep using Martin, as an example. What were they doing? They were running around town, some taking off their shirts, and what were they shouting? No more back way. That was the hope they had in your government. No more back way. So by now, we should not have been discussing the back way syndrome at all.
But what I'm also saying is that some expectations are very high expectations, and they're ideal expectations.
Well, at least you're not saying they are irrational or unreasonable.
No. What I'm saying is that this is quite understandable, and we've seen this happen in any other country.
Would you say?
In fact, I remember in 1994, when the junta took over, people were celebrating that poverty is over in the Gambia now. That corruption.
I wasn't here, so I cannot speak.
And in Egypt, in Libya, in other countries, in Mali, sometimes when the young people engage and governments come down, young people come out to celebrate that our problems are over. But these are expectations that we expect. But what I'm trying to tell you is that as a government, we've done everything possible to increase the opportunities of Gambians to make it in this country. And I've argued here before, our problem is not unemployment in this country. Our problem is the misalignment of what the labor market needs and the skill sets available. Yesterday, I got a call from...
Every time you say this, I remind you of the teachers who were trained in the official, teacher training institution of this country, and they are still waiting to be absorbed into the public service system.
That confirms my problem. Is the misalignment. Maybe the labor market doesn't need more teachers. What it needs is more
It doesn't need more teachers.
I'm saying that
there are schools that do not yet have enough teachers.
No, what I'm telling you is that there is enough data which tells us that there's a misalignment. Yesterday, I got a call from a friend who just opened a company, a solar installation company. He struggled to get 4 technicians. He's struggling, and he wanted me to get him in touch with GTTI to say So what I'm trying to tell you...
You're talking about the skill and labor market.
That's what I'm saying, that if, for example, today, what you just said about there are schools with no teachers, we don't have that data. I don't think that is happening in this country. Every school has a teacher. But also remember
What did I say? Enough.
But I mean, what is enough? Every school has a teacher which is enough to teach our children. That is, we've not had any problems about scarcity of teachers in this country. What we are having problems with, in fact, we have more teachers.
Some headmaster or headmistress will be texting me those who can get us live and those who. Yeah.
But we have
we'll probably hear the recording afterwards
sometimes
send us
even
messages.
If people say there is some scarcity, it's not because of government policy. It is because of personal decisions of some teachers. Some teachers do runaway teachers. You'll teach until middle of semester, and you have a opportunity to travel. You leave, or you go do something else. You're talking about me.
I started life as a in Sukuta Secondary School.
Exactly. So sometimes not government policy. It's teachers who decide to leave the teaching field by leaving a space. Let's say, for example, there is school in Sara Sotuma with teachers that is enough to teach the children. All of a sudden, in the semester, 3 teachers leave because there are opportunities. Well, there you leave a vacuum, you leave a space. And for government to employ, that goes through a process. So sometimes it's not government policy. There are many other factors that can lead to that. But what is important is that what we are saying is that as a country, as a government, we have provided many opportunities for young people to make it in this country by providing scholarships, by building skill training centers, the so-called vocational training institutes in Kanilai, in Pachar. We are building specialized ones in Tujereng. So we are doing everything possible. We've created an environment to attract investors, to employ young people. But there are people who just want to leave, and you cannot stop them. Okay. This is the decision they have made. Even if you give them a job and a salary. In fact, during I'm an expert in migration studies. I did my PhD on migration. I read extensively on migration. I've joined research institutes across. I've done on migration. I have met people in the Gambia who are doing very well by themselves. They had a shop and doing well. They sold off the shop and left. I've known people who were working, had a decent salary. They took a loan from the bank and left. And sometimes there are social issues because the issue about si koñ bi si boppam xeebaate bi si boppam comme que yow demuloo Europe rek léegi sax bu ñu mel a jabar sa problème la. Not that you don't have the money. So obviously we don't want that's not debate. But what I'm trying to tell you is that yes, we understand expectations. Every government has to deal with that. But as a government, we are doing everything possible to make Gambia a better country for every young person, so that every young person, you don't only live a dignified life, but also you're able to fulfill your potential. You're able to develop the talent that God gave to you.
How do you intend to craft messaging in 2026? I'm citing 2026 because of, what's, ahead of us, the presidential election. And increasingly, the opposition is using the backway syndrome as a political issue. It's become more of, a daily discussion thing. And it's a highly emotional subject.
At least we have a policy.
Because people die in the process.
And we abhor it. And we regret it.
So how do you counter to, how do you plan to craft government messaging in 2026 to counter what is coming from, let's call it the other sources?
Well, what is important is, for me, is not the timing. For me, is the continuous and sustained policy interventions we are doing to reduce irregular migration. To be honest, any government, anybody who tells you they are going to eradicate it and stop it.
And what if the opposition dismisses it as, insufficient?
Then they don't know.
Ineffective.
Let them give me a solution. If any opposition gives me a solution better than ours, I'll join that opposition party. I've made that pledge.
They will not give you the solution. Why should they give you the solution?
No, but that is politics.
They don't have to give you the solution.
They are not alternative.
What they will say to Gambians is, these people are useless. So if you want this problem tackled once and for all, put us in power.
That is the heart of this political dishonesty.
Isn't that what Adama Barrow and the coalition sold to Gambians in 2016, and Gambians bought and put him in where he is now?
We live in a different context. At that time, there was no democracy. At that time, everybody was focused on removing Jameh.
This has nothing to do with democracy.
No, but it has. Because democracy opens the public debate and solutions.
There was migration even during Jawara days.
My argument is
based on... It may not have been called backway. It would have been called stowaway. All right? Then Yaya Jameh came, and it has continued.
My argument, based on your submission, is that you said the coalition made that promise. What I'm telling you is that during that time, the campaign was not based on public debates and solutions and alternatives to Yaya Jameh. Everybody was focused on removing Yaya Jameh. Now the democratic space is open. Now we debate on issues. If anybody, you are in opposition,
So are you suggesting that even if Barrow just only stood up and said, I am the coalition candidate, said absolutely nothing, Gambians would still vote for him?
What I'm telling you,
just want to get rid of Yaya
we
Jameh?
all know, and I think many scholars have written about this, and that is the honest truth. The coalition's campaign was based on galvanizing people to remove a dictator from power. Nobody was listening to policy debates at that time, and that is the fact. I will not sit down and sugarcoat things. That was the fact at that time in 2016. Everybody's focus was how to remove Jameh. Who was listening to policy debates? And nobody was asking those questions, those critical questions. Nobody was asking those questions. People are asking,
well, the 3-year promise came out because it was made.
But even if it wasn't made, Jameh was still going to be voted out. Let's not go back to history. I want us to
you're suggesting that
you asked the question on 2026.
You're suggesting that they didn't have to say anything. They didn't have to promise anything. And I'm saying that promises were made. Even
promises.
if they didn't have to make promises.
But the coalition made promises. But the coalition splintered after. So we cannot hold President Barrow accountable for the coalition's promises. So let's focus on 2026.
Responsible for anything.
Let's go to the future. I don't want us to go to the I don't want to be bogged by the past.
2026.
You're asking the question as a government.
Yes.
You see, in a democracy, the opposition has to provide solutions. And those solutions must be practical and pragmatic solutions. You cannot tell me, as an opposition, that, well, we are going to stop the back. But how are you going to do it? That is different from what we are doing. What we are doing are fourfold as a government. One, we have invested in young people to provide them opportunities to stay in this country. Two, we have also done what they call surveillance, interceptions, using immigration and the security forces to stop it.
That's true.
Three, we have also created safe paths of migration through our circular migration agreements. And four, we've done a lot of sensitization, working with IOM and other partners, the year program, to make young people stay. These are policies. You can say, yes, they still haven't stopped and eradicated it, but at least they've reduced the numbers. Now, if you're an opposition and you think this is not, come and tell us what you are going to do in the absence of these four policies, then we can listen to you. But without that, you are just making empty promises. And unfortunately, political theater now has been inundated by political con artists. People who...
Political con artists?
Of course. I mean, they have no solution. They're not alternatives. All they are promising Gambians is how to get to the seat of power, because they believe, and which is a fiction, that there is high premium in political power, which is not the case.
Well, there is.
No.
$500,000, per month pay? That's a lot. Just for being the president
it's one of the lowest in the continent. One of the lowest in the continent. You know the amount of deprivation.
I am contextualizing things locally. How many Gambians get paid $500,000?
We've increased salaries on 3 occasions since
how many
this government
Gambians
came to power.
Get paid $500,000?
What I can also tell you
month?
is that since Barrow government came to power, we've increased salaries of civil servants on 3 occasions to almost 110%. That is unprecedented.
The question has got nothing to do with that.
It has to do with that. I'm also focused on
you've
context.
Increased salary 3 times.
Yes.
Apart from Barrow, who else gets $500,000?
Who else should get $500,000? Everybody's
so
we have only one president.
So that is why everybody wants to be a president.
No, but the salary should... If anybody tells me that you want to be a president because of the salary, then you are disingenuous. There are people who are going to the teaching field. They are not there for the salary. They are there because of the passion for public service.
Well,
to be president
is the salary. That's why they are complaining.
Even
that's why teachers, policemen, nurses are the most complaining civil servants.
That's all over the world. Today, nurses are striking in London.
Let's
today
talk about
because of. No, I'm just telling you the situation of global situation as well. I mean, we are not living in an isolated world. Tomorrow Wednesday.
Yes.
Doctors are going on strike in the UK. The L'Oeuvre, one of the oldest, biggest in Paris, that has this how do you call it again? Their staff are going on strike. So what I'm telling you is that the world now, every country is facing challenges. And people have to make sure we manage the resources we have. We have managed our resources. We have increased salaries on 3 occasions. We are subventing electricity. We are subventing gas on the tank, at the pump. We are subventing farmers. We are providing electricity. We are providing water. We are building schools. We are building hospitals. We are building roads. We're empowering women. We're empowering young people. We are doing all these things within a very text. So I think we're not saying everything is perfect, but at least what we are saying is that some things are not worth debating. The salary of the president is not worth debating. It's the lowest, one of the lowest in the continent. And for me, not everybody can earn it. And I come back to your issue. If anybody wants to go to the presidency because of the salaries taking you there, we cannot vote for you, because presidency is not about the salary. It's about public service. It's about sacrifice. It's about coming to bring solutions to solve the problems of every Gambian.
That's fine. That's fine. We really, wish that it was purely about service. But when the National Assembly members, just because they have the authority to sign off on the dotted line, keep increasing their salaries and allowances. The judiciary gets, a fat pay package, and the executive, which we have just spoken about. People will look at these so-called, public servants and say, no, they are not serving us. They are serving themselves first and foremost.
No, we're serving the public. And I cannot speak for the National Assembly. I'm not a spokesperson for the National Assembly. What I can speak for is the executive branch of government. And we're doing everything possible with all the sacrifices to serve the public, to increase public service delivery, and ensure that every Gambian lives a dignified life. We've invested a lot. The investments we've done in the social sectors and in the productive sectors, no government has done it before. Despite the difficulty, despite COVID, despite the wars across the globe, despite global pressures, despite supply chain bottlenecks, now Gambia is one of those countries now that has really done well, considering where we come from. One of the most successful transitions is overseen by the president, building a stable, secure, democratic society. It's unprecedented.
Okay,
we're not saying it's perfect.
So are you suggesting we owe you a thank you?
We are not saying that. What we are saying is that let us debate on facts. Let us have a genuine debate and not bring in issues and confuse the public just because we want to get the public office because you think that's a permanent public office. Let us have an honest discussion. Yes, there are challenges. Yes, we could do better as a country. But remember, most of our problems are inherited and development is long-term planning. If, for example, today, the government in power 25 years ago looked at population growth, looked at trends, global trends, and say, hey, in 2025, we'll have 50% of our population living in urban Gambia. 60% live in urban Gambia. They'll need jobs, they'll need housing, they'll need electricity and water. And the planning is on at that time. We wouldn't be having the problems we're having today. Every generation builds the country for the next. That is how it works. And we are tasked with two challenges. The first challenge is to give Gambians what they want today, the services today. The second challenge is to build the country for the future. That is why the president is investing in electricity, in water, not only for today, but also for the future. It's nobody can do it. Every country, today the US, all their policies and investments are for the next 15, 20 years time because what they are using today has been done by the previous governments. But we found ourselves in a situation whereby we found nothing. We inherited a broken system.
How are Trump's tariffs something for the future for America?
No, what I'm telling you, but I said investments. I didn't say policies. I said investments in the US today.
America is doing
I
today.
said the investments they are doing today. Investments in green energy, investments in everything is for the future, and I think that's what countries do. For us today, what we are focusing on is to ensure the welfare of future generations. That is why we're investing massively in most of the social sectors. But also, Gambians want electricity. They don't want to wait for tomorrow. They want it today. And I think that is commendable. That is really commendable.
Okay, all right. Let's take one or two questions for you before it's 10 o'clock.
I have only one.
Oh, okay. You're not done yet. Sorry.
One. I have a few, but I think I'll take the first, which is important. The president was in Abuja to participate in the 68th ordinary session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of States and Government, which took place on the 14th of December. He arrived back to Banjul yesterday. I think one key issue that concerns Gambia, which was raised as part of the communique, was the concern about Jameh's interference through statements into the domestic politics of this country. I think the ECOWAS has made a very good, strong statement that he should refrain from making such statements because they violate the asylum conditions, but also
we don't need ECOWAS to silence Jameh. We just need you people to be responsible.
But we are responsible. We've taken actions. We are saying that what we are saying is amplified by ECOWAS.
What action has been taken against Jameh?
We've made it very clear that he can come, but if he comes, he'll face justice.
That's the action.
But what action do you want us to take? Give me a solution.
He should be silenced.
How?
Can't Banjul speak directly to Malabo and Equatorial Guinea?
Well, do you know whether we've done that?
Get the guy. Have you done that?
But do you know whether we've done that?
Have you done that?
I'm asking.
This is an opportunity for you.
But we cannot send some things. Some things in diplomacy are not for public consumption. Some things are done behind the scenes. But if he's still able
to shoot his mouth from Equatorial Guinea, it's because you haven't done that.
No, but we could have done that, and yet he speaks. I mean, it's difficult to stop him from speaking in this day and age whereby you record an audio and send it. Those audios go around. So it's difficult. It's a very difficult situation, and it's very difficult to stop him from. What is important is that we've taken a very strong position, and this position is strengthened by ECOWAS, that his asylum does not really absolve him from prosecution should he come to the Gambia. What is important is that what we've said is being complemented by ECOWAS, and I think that is heartwarming, and I think we know we have the support of ECOWAS as a country, that ECOWAS still supports our transition.
Okay. Post-ECOWAS, what if Yahya Jammeh puts out an audio tomorrow? What will happen to him?
We live in a free and democratic society. People have a right to express,
so in other words, he can
their opinions.
He can keep sending audios across.
It depends on the nature of that audio. As long as the audios are not threatening to the peace and stability of this country, he has a right to speak.
So yes, Yahya Jammeh can keep talking, huh? Good morning, Peter and Ismaila. Can the minister help us with the machine-readable passports? All this while, it's not available according to the officials, and some of us are in dire need of it. By the way, what happened to Barrow's biannual press briefings? This is from Abdullah Abu Aisha Jallo from, is it Umeo?
Umeo. Well, with the machine-readable passports, I'm not sure.
I'm shocked that we are still talking about machine-readable passports. I thought this was a problem.
So what happened is that we have two types of passports. We have the biometric passports, which I don't think there are problems with that. In fact, we are giving those ones in the diaspora just to avoid. We are trying to phase out the machine-readable passports because they are not accepted by many countries anyway. So the focus now is on the biometric passports. We've been to the diaspora, Spain and other countries giving out the biometric passports. So if there's an issue with machine-readable passports, I don't know what those problems I can find out with the biannual press conference. I mean, Bojang is the right person to answer the question because she coordinates the president's the diary of the president.
Fantastic. Well, we are fast approaching, not just the end of today's allotted time, but the end of the year.
I think we have one more session before the end.
You don't want to start, wishing people a Merry Christmas. And
I think it's
and Happy New Year.
Next year I'll have the opportunity. Next week is the
23rd.
23rd. I'll have the opportunity. If I do it now, I have to do it again.
You don't want to start.
I love Christmas. It's one of my best periods, particularly in a Western context. I enjoy the markets.
You have a few Christian friends you hang out with.
I enjoy the markets and the Christmas carols. And
Came here visit this year. You have no idea where I live.
Is it? I will. If you invite me for Christmas lunch, I'll surely come.
You are invited.
Okay, that's
Dr. Ismaila Ceesay is invited to spend the Christmas holiday with me this year.
Well, I accept the invitation and I endeavor to come.
Okay. Doc, thank you so very much.
You.
And
it's a pleasure.
Have a very good rest of the week, Doctor.
Sant Yàlla. looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokku dara.
Jar Oil, the company, have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
In the Gambia, we all move to different paces. Time is money, convenience is power, and now both are in your hands. No more long lines, no more late payments, no more missed chances, not anymore. Because now the Gambia has its own super app, Zap. One app, one tap, endless convenience. Send money instantly, pay your bills in seconds, shop without borders, pay your rides, order your meal, buy your ticket, deposit and withdraw money for absolutely free. No extra charges, no hidden fees, only only on Zap Super App. This is not just convenience. This is confidence. This is the future in your hands. And the best part, Zap is born right here. Built for us, designed for every Gambian home, every Gambian dream. So don't wait in the past. Step into the future. Download Zap today on App Store and Play Store and enjoy endless free services. Call us today on our toll-free number 1666 or on 260-0001. Zap, all in one, all for you. Tap in, zap in.